I like to think of the outcome-based grazing program as sort of a choose-your-own-adventure in the rangeland permitting world. We're grazing towards an outcome as opposed to grazing towards a prescription. And so we collaboratively build our definition of what that outcome is.
My name is Angelo Raftopoulos. My preferred title is owner-manager. The Craig area and the Baggs area, they're both agriculture communities. We're mostly a high desert type landscape. Don't see a lot of rainfall. My grandparents migrated from Greece. They ran sheep back in Greece, and so they knew that they could do that here as well. So once we started to figure out the country, we kind of knew that the sky was the limit. Our operation is not the same as everybody else's. Where other people, after birth, when they wean, they'll sell the calf, or in between as a stocker or as a finished product. We have that calf all the way through the whole cycle.
Larger operations tend to do well in this country because the more land available, whether it's public or private, the more flexibility an operation has.
Two things that I find challenging in our day-to-day operation are water and feed. I mean, those are the two factors that we're constantly managing all the time. Prior to this, there was a lot of season-long grazing, and so a lot of those start dates were in May and they'd end in October. And so that window time frame was good maybe 30 years ago, but now the greatest part about the outcome base is the flexibility to just change year to year. So if we didn't get the moisture, now we can adapt and we can do something different that's suitable to the ground. Our objective is to provide a good cover for the sage-grouse habitat. So how we can do that with the flexibilities of outcome-based is we can graze the dormant season grasses, we can have a full year of growth season to obtain the cover that we need for the sage-grouse.
The primary flexibility is basically no grazing windows, no restrictions on dates. There's still animal unit months. The amount of forage allocated is what it was before, but I think it allows the range specialist and the permittee to really look at what are our resource objectives and how do we get there. The approach that the agency has taken to incorporating grazing with its sage-grouse management has recognized that well-managed grazing and healthy sage-grouse populations and healthy sage-grouse habitat are compatible.
What's going to benefit us with this outcome base is the ability to add water sources to our allotments and fence lines so we can control the cattle and we can control their movement. And so developing different ponds, different wells, different pipelines, it's been the deciding factor on why we're going to do this outcome base. We have a monitoring system. It just tells us every morning what the level is and if we have any low levels anywhere, and then we can react off of that a lot faster. It's more of a security factor that all of our lines are full. We use float systems on all of our stock tanks, so we're holding the water. We're not letting the water spill out into open dirt ponds and for evaporation and loss. I think it does benefit the entire system all the way down into the Little Snake River. And we've seen a lot of drought here these last few years, and so the water table has dropped. So now we're seeing a gain in that. And so it's just a good thing to see some water kind of returning to the area.
Water is hugely beneficial in a couple of ways. Number one, it is allowing pastures to be used during times of the year where cattle might want to linger in some of those lower, wetter spots, but also in terms of providing greater dispersal of animals across the landscape.
It was 2014 that we had the greasewood fire that came through. The fire did burn through hot, and it took out all the sagebrush. Prior to that, we had been doing some high-intensity, low-frequency grazing, and we did see a return in the forbs and the forages a lot faster in those areas versus the stuff on the full-season use. Letting that grass get mature, go to seed, then grazing it in the dormant season, letting those livestock come in, stomp that seed into the ground, having that impact is a huge deal for that reseeding.
Outcome-based grazing requires a significant sense of ownership in the process by the permittee as well as the BLM.
It doesn't matter if it's public land or if it's private land, we're always analyzing the sustainability of our ground, and we want it to be at the highest value that we can. The advice that I'd give is to definitely pursue it as hard as you can, because it's the flexibility in the dates that it can really add value to your operation. And the best part about it is it's nobody's telling you when and where you have to go. You're making that decision is how you know best on your operation.